You know.
But you're wearing many hats. You and David Temple
Right.
and everybody else. You know, it wasn't a crew of 300. A lot of people had to do other jobs. So it's tough to just worry about one thing as a director, but as a writer, making sure the words are correct, and a producer, an executive producer, and of course you had Jessica helping you as well, and of course Alex Bailey, another co-writer and executive producer. So there's lots to worry about except just one job. So it's juggling a lot, wearing a lot of hats. Without
a doubt, even down to sweeping the floor. So you have to do everything. And this is part of what we told everyone when we went into this, is that, you know, here's the project, here's what we've got to accomplish. We've got to shoot a full feature film in 3 days, you know, to keep it, because people, that's the only time they can donate, you know, and to making this happen. And so you've got to constantly work on that aspect of it. And you have to do everything you need to. If you have to take the trash out, if you have to go grab some drinks for somebody, if you have to go get coffee for someone, those are the things you just got to step in and do. And I think that's part of, you know, everyone did that, you know. I mean, our executive producers were sitting there sweeping the floor. They were moving Coke machines. They were doing all these different, you know, aspects. Anything that needed to be done, people stepped in and realized the goal, and that was to accomplish this film.
Would you do it again?
You know, that's a great question, and people always ask. I think the key to it is I would do it a lot smarter this time. I'm not afraid to jump in and do it in 30 days, but I would definitely be a lot more organized, a lot more polished, you know, on that concept of what I wanted and how I wanted it. Have everything detailed out a little bit more so, and maybe have a few more people helping, which would really help. So.
Always. Jessica,
yes.
Would you do this again?
I think, like Ken said, I mean, if it was a little bit more organized and you know, we have one under our belt, so we know the mistakes that we made and we know the things that we'd like to do differently.
Coming up next, learn how co-directing works and how tough decisions are made quickly on set. Below the Line continues. Stay with us. We're back with executive producer Jessica Pickman and award-winning director Kent Smith. Now, Kent, tell us what it's like to co-direct a film.
Well, I think the hard thing with co-directing is you've got to be with someone that you can actually work with and you can have the same mindset and the mind skills together. There's a lot of things that can go in, you know, to directing. As you know, there's thousands of different ways to do it. Everyone's got a different style. So you have to take two like-minded people and put them together. In our situation, you know, it's like the left brain, right brain philosophy. You know, one of us is better at one thing than the other is, and so it really works that we are able to pass that on to the crew, the staff, you know, the actors. You know, everyone involved sees that aspect and they relate to it, and I think it works really well when you come together, you know, and make things happen.
And David Temple has a background for years as an actor and voiceover guy and producer and director, so he knew what he was getting into.
Excellent, yeah, and Dave is really good with the actors, being able to sit down with them and tell them, you know, what like certain things to help them advance in their acting skills. He brings that to the table and really does help, you know, especially with us. We had 6 people that were first-time actors, and so that was a tremendous impact on that.
And Jessica, you're on set filming this movie in 3 very long days.
Yep.
You're watching the clock. Time is money.
Yep.
How do you keep these guys motivated to get things done?
A lot of yelling, no. You know, it's just trying to make sure that everything was available to them when they needed it, and you know, trying to keep the actors in check and, you know, make sure that they're ready, and it's just a lot of hurry up and wait. You know, we kept it going, we kept it organized as much as we possibly could.
And Kent, what advice would you give to those who are about to co-direct a movie?
Well, I think the number one thing is that you're both on the same page, and you basically have your same ideas lined out how you're going to, you know, how you're going to do this thing. You know, when you get on set, it's not the time to be trying to figure it out. But you really have to have set up certain parameters, you know, like one's better at this, so then that's, you know, I was better at the angles of view, and Dave's better at talking to an actor and saying, you know, I need this, you know, from you, and let's try to see this. And you've got to both, you know, intertwine your skills together, and you've got to work together like one brain. It's really hard. You've got to have one person calling out, you know, action, you know, I mean, that's just part of it. But, you know, truly putting everything out in the beginning is the best way to do it. And so that way you've got things, and you know, every person's going to have a different aspect of what they see. And so you've got to work together. And then if you can't communicate, there's your number one mistake to start with. Communication would be the number one thing.
And during production, Kent, what are some things that, even though you knew about sets, David Temple knew about sets, you're on set, you're filming, how did you deal with the challenges in those 3 days of getting through things?
Well, I think, you know, one of our biggest issues was time. So here we were shooting, you know, an 80-some page script that we were having to not cover the amount of things we want. Like, you know, right now you've got 3 cameras rolling. We were rolling with 1 camera. Those things, being able to line them up and shoot exactly what you want, you don't have those luxuries of being able to say, oh, but let's go back and let's shoot this. You know, oh, I'd love to have a close-up of your hands with, you know, this. Or hey, how about a shot of his shoes? Let's do that. We didn't have time to do that. So, you know, our goal was to get the gist of the story, put it on to, you know, to film or digital, and take that and move as fast as we could. So once we had it, we pretty much didn't go back and reshoot it. So a lot of things we had one shot of, and so you got to do what you can do with that in the editing room. So.
And in post-production, of course, there's always more shots that you need that you don't have.
Post-production is, you know, a tremendous part of making the movie, and it's in that part. Now, we had some great editors, you know, with Jonathan Ayala and Raul Martinez really stepped in and gave a lot of their time to make this thing happen. You would always love to have more angles and more shots, and it usually came down, do we have this shot? No, we don't have it. Okay, all right. Do we have this? No, we don't have that. So those things to cut to make things transition between things were a key. I think we did a pretty good job considering we shot it in 3 days. You know, most movies are, you know, 20 to 40 days. We had 3 days to accomplish our goal, and we did it. So.
Well, the film has been nominated and won Best Actor for Jimmy Hager and Best Director to you and David Temple. And so does that help in marketing this movie and distribution possibilities? Plus the whole internet stream, you have the whole thing documented. How has that been easy to get the word out about this project?
Well, I mean, we're still kind of in the beginning stages of trying to get the film out, still finishing up a few last things, but you know, it's a great marketing platform. You know, we've done something that really hasn't been done before, and you know, we're hoping that gives us a leg up when we're trying to get this distributed or sales or whatever, wherever we go with it. If we use it as leverage for our next project, it's just something that makes us a little bit different and gives us that one little step up from everybody else.
Now, tell me about the film, The Last Passport. What is this story about?
Well, it's a 60-year-old man walks into a passport office, and through the people that he meets in the passport office, he tells his life story, as well as here's little pieces of their life and interchanges that take place, that little confrontation. You find out that there's a little bit of a development in the person he's talking to throughout the process. So there's actual growth of, you know, what we can and what we can't do in life.
And you brought a clip from the film, The Last Passport. What do we have here?
This is a scene where we have Manny and George, the first interaction together, and it's kind of a little, you know, just a little testing of the ground of who their personalities are and what they're about. You know, George is played by Jimmy Hager here, and Stefan Montessorian plays Manny. And it's just a little interaction in the very beginning of what's happening in the story.
Let's take a look at a scene from The Last Passport.
Life doesn't always give you an even playing field.
What?
No.
Don't lose it. Keep it together. Breathe.
don't mean to mind your business for you, but you've been standing in the wrong line.
Perfect.